Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Curious Cat. I just wanted to start off again by saying thank you so much to my first 200 subscribers. It really means a lot to me that you guys are taking the time to listen to what I have to say, as I am just your average Joe Blow and I'm not a professional. A lot of what I have to say comes from life experience and from my own desires to learn these things outside of my day job or whatever I might have been doing with my time. It's really just been a personal interest of mine to find ways to, better our own lives and to help ourselves overcome trauma and addiction and ways that we can create prosperity and all that. So it's really been an interesting journey for me. It's been a lot of learning. I've made a lot of massive mistakes and all that. So I'm not coming to you guys as a professional, and I've tried to make that clear in a lot of my videos. And of course, never take what I'm saying as 100% truth or whatever. You have to do your own research and find what's true for you. But I do like to just kind of come to you with my own personal experience, and hopefully you guys can learn a little bit from that. So with that being said, I think I'll get into this next video. If you haven't already, like the video, hit subscribe on the channel there, and it's the best thing you can do to help me kind of get these videos out there and help them be seen by more people. So it's a very interesting time we're living in. The governments are really flexing their control, and we're really seeing how much authority they actually have, and we are really seeing how fearful your average person is. A lot of people are just kind of giving up all these liberties without even questioning the government or their authority, or no one's even questioning the science or really the stats. But there is a lot of info that's kind of a lot of science that's going counter to the mainstream narrative there. So it's just really fascinating times to me, and I just find it all really interesting, and I like to observe. I don't know if you guys believe in astrology, but there's what's called the birthday book, and you can look up the exact day you're born on, and there's, a 3 or 4 page write-up on your birthday, and kind of outlining your personality, and where the stars were and how it dictates who you are as a person. And I read mine, and it's very accurate, actually surprisingly accurate, and mine is the day of the observer. So it's very true. I spend most of my life observing, and that's why, that's why I have so much to say. Actually, I know I ramble and ramble in these videos, but I find it fascinating. I'm always observing these trends and the way people are and the way our world's changing, and that's why I like to talk about it, because it's so fascinating to me to just observe these things. And the more we observe and the more trends we can identify, it just offers us more data, more information, and it gives us a better foundation to make decisions from. So if we can kind of see the general trends, the way things are moving towards, then we can kind of plan accordingly, and we can make better decisions. And we can, if we can see that, the economy is in a bit of rough shape. If we start analyzing the numbers and the data, we can see, like unemployment's at a record high, and all these businesses are about to go bust, and the debt levels they've never been this high, and even the governments are bankrupt. Once you start to analyze the actual knowledge, and I'm not just going off the narrative that you're fed on Facebook or wherever you get your media, but to actually look at the numbers and be able to make a decision from that place, then we can see, like, oh wow, the economy is actually in quite a bit of trouble. Maybe I shouldn't be buying that brand new truck on debt. Maybe I shouldn't be going and taking a 7-year university degree and going into $100,000 worth of debt and spending the next 10 years in school. Maybe I should actually learn to farm and grow some food and find a place to call home and plant some roots and get strong in my community. So it's my opinion that by kind of analyzing, identifying certain trends and seeing the way things are going, then we can make better decisions. and we can kind of plan accordingly. So that's what I like to do in my own life, and you'll probably see that through a lot of my videos. You'll see I'm always looking at charts. I'll go over a lot more charts with you guys this winter. Um, just I just found a neat rock here. I thought there might have been gold in that. But yeah, just it's summer and I'm just really soaking up the last of this nice weather. I don't like to be inside staring at a computer screen if I don't have to. I'm really hands-on electrical contractor, so I've been wiring houses again, and it feels good to be out moving and working hard and earning some money. So, but in the future, this winter, I do plan on going over more of the data with you guys. I really love analyzing charts and analyzing the data. And I also plan on having a lot more people on the channel and just interviewing others, people that are a lot smarter than me, and seeing what they have to say. And with all this information, then we can make better decisions. So I think there's some pretty evident trends that are forming here. And to me, if we can identify those trends, there's going to be a ton of opportunity. So it's up to us to just have faith that we're going to see the opportunity and that we're going to seize it. Seize it. I don't know what that word is, but anyways, we got to jump on opportunity when we see it. And that's my plan. So, I'm not seizing a ton of opportunity right now, but you have to kind of, you have to look for things that basically strengthen your idea of prosperity. So even though maybe you're not doing that well financially, look for the little things that kind of help the narrative that you are doing well. Look at the guy, oh, maybe somebody paid you an extra $100 because you did a really good job. Or, I just talked to somebody, they just got a notice that the government is forgiving 40% of their student loan. So that's just a way that they're able to go, wow, look, my prosperity consciousness is rising up. So, one day they're in a bunch of debt and they could focus on that. They could focus on the fact that, oh, I have all this debt and, oh, I'm never going to get out of it. But I know that person personally, and they've been really focused on their prosperity consciousness. And look what happens. The government comes along. Oh, we're going to forgive 40% of your debt. That is massive. So this is a way that that information is strengthening that prosperity consciousness. So the more we can look for these things that strengthen the story that we want to be true, the more we can affirm that, and the more we can step into that reality and allow it to unfold. So it's often by focusing on the lack. So let's just take money, for instance. A lot of people want more money, but the thing is, they're often focused on the lack of that money. So by focusing on that, you're putting that vibration of a lack of that money. But if we can, even though we're lacking money, if we can look for ways to focus on what we do have, maybe you have some kind of asset, maybe you have a home that you inherited, or maybe you do have some money in the bank. Focus on the money that you do have and look for the ways to kind of affirm the story that you want. Look at the way you just got the job promotion, or you got a new job, or you got a raise, or you were awarded a contract, or somebody decided to hire your business or do business or reach out. So it's really important that we're always looking for ways to affirm the reality that we want to unfold. It's really easy. It's kind of the default to look at the lack of stuff and to be lusting after what we don't have, but very few are really honing in on what we already have, and ways that life is presenting us with opportunity, and ways that there's little things that are coming to us that it's easy to brush off, but the key is to take little things and make them a big deal. So, if a client compliments me on my work ethic, I really soak that emotion in and I amplify it. And I think, wow, that's amazing. Look, he's so happy with my work. It really pays off to work hard so that I can make my clients really satisfied and happy with my services. And that just amplifies and ripples into my reality. So this is a way that we can really flip our life around quickly. It's all in our mind. It's the one thing, the one tool we have is our perception of reality and the thoughts we choose to think. So the more we can take control of that, it's like a muscle too. It's not something you're an expert at right away. It's something that takes years to master, to be able to at first, the first thing to do is just step back and start observing your thoughts as kind of a omnipresence, where you're not so right in your thoughts. You're not just in this autopilot mode. You actually step back and you start observing your thoughts. And the first thing you'll probably notice is, wow, I'm really negative, because negativity is the default, or being super critical of ourselves. We're, are really hard on ourselves. Always our own worst critics. So, putting ourselves down, or, you do something wrong and, oh, you idiot, that's the kind of internal dialogue. So recognizing that is the first step, and then stopping it is the second. Like, if you start noticing that you're going into a really negative way of thinking, just try and stop it. Take a few deep breaths and just stop that internal dialogue. And if you can, the third step is to actually replace that with a more positive thought. So, if I catch myself calling myself an idiot, I made some mistake or whatever, I stop it, and then I look at it, and then I try and reframe it. So I go, oh, whatever, it's not a big deal. It's like, it'll take 5 minutes and you can fix it. Like, it's normal to make mistakes. You were distracted. You were thinking about this. Have some patience for yourself, and then just brush it off and move on. Where the opposite is where you just get stuck in that dialogue, start calling yourself an idiot, putting yourself down, and then it ripples out and snowballs and it gets worse. So our internal perception, the way we perceive events, is massive. It's one of the, if you have two twins that are born and they have a lot of the same traits and they have the same opportunity, the same parents, the same environment, and something catastrophic happens, we often see that the two twins deal with it completely different. Or, two people that are dealt the same event, it's unbelievable. One person can turn it into fuel that fires them up and gets them, it gives them the internal fuel they need and the drive to make their own lives better. And another person will be completely defeated by it and will just bask in that trauma forever and hold on to it and use it as an excuse to basically just sit around and play the victim and that. So we know that a lot of it comes back to perspective and neuroplasticity, the ability to change our mind, to change our patterning, to change the way our brain works and thinks, and these deep-rooted patterns. This is all newer science that's emerging, and it's pretty fascinating stuff to realize that we have the ability to change the way we think and perceive the world. And our subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between actual reality and and what we're telling it. So there's an internal, basically our mind, our thoughts are a filter between the external world and then the internal world that our subconscious is perceiving. So once we realize that, we have the power to change that perception and therefore change our own reality, because our subconscious mind does not know the difference. So if I'm suffering externally and I'm focused on that, focused on my lack of adequate housing and my lack of healthy food, my lack of community, then my mind really focuses on that. And that's the information that my subconscious is being fed. So basically the message it's getting is, oh, we're in a bad situation here. We're suffering, blah, blah, blah. But if I can turn that perception around and basically change that dialogue and find ways to be like, okay, my situation isn't ideal, but maybe it's only temporary, and maybe I can find ways to get healthier food, and just find little ways. It's challenging, but we usually can find ways to change that perception and basically feed our subconscious a different narrative, a different idea of our external reality. So if we can always be looking for that silver lining and find a way to always try and maintain happiness and always be looking for possibility and and just recognizing when our minds are kind of getting sucked into, you know, a loop of anxiety and depression and all that, and just recognize it and try and interrupt it and try and feed it a different story. It's really important to do, and it makes the world a difference. It's one of the most useful tools we have is our perception and the way we can actually choose our own thoughts. So it's up to us how we choose to view what happens to us. And we can either view it as difficulty and a burden and a challenge, or not even a challenge, but a block or some kind of limiting excuse why we can't do well or why we can't have this thing. But we could reframe that, and we could be looking, just see it as a challenge and look for a way to overcome that, and always be holding on to that faith that we will get through, and knowing, having a deep knowing that we're going to thrive and create abundance regardless, and not letting the small things knock us down, but quickly recovering, quickly getting back on track. And even though life is hard, so we're always going to be faced with these things that knock us down, but it's how quickly we adapt, it's how quickly we get back up, and we keep trying, we keep moving forward, you know, and we look for the positive in that. So those are ways that we can basically become more resilient in our life, ways we can change quickly, adapt quickly to situations that unfold, ways that we can get over trauma quickly instead of being knocked down for years. Just finding ways to reframe that and looking for the opportunity in it. Oh, this happened. Oh, my life is ruined. Or did it happen and you just never know what happened? Maybe it happened for a reason. Maybe it helped you avoid something even more catastrophic, right? So it's just up to us, the story we tell ourselves. So let's choose our stories wisely, and that way we can basically create more resilience and prosperity in our own lives, and we can find ways to keep our minds healthy. It's really important in this day and age with all of this fear programming. It's really important that we take care of this. Our mind is the most important thing, right? So let's be careful what we feed it. Let's be mindful of how much media, especially this negative media that we're consuming every day, you know, turn it off. If you start feeling stressed, turn it off, go for a walk, breathe some fresh air, listen to some positive videos. I like to put out a lot of positive videos, so look back through some of my videos if you want, and find ways to lift yourself up, surround yourself with positive people, and be really mindful of the story you're telling yourself. I hope you guys enjoyed that video, found some useful information in there, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a fantastic day.